What's up, good peoples? Well, today was the last day of camp, and I can say that we ended it with a bang. So much so that when the parents all came to pick up my campers, they all started crying because they didn't want to leave. It was sad, but it was also sweet and a telling sign of how well things went. Like, they literally did not want to leave. They were like, I don't want to go, bro. Why can't we stay a little bit longer, bro? I'm like, baby, you gotta go. You gotta go. Camp is closed, guys. But I am considering extending it next summer. You know, making it 5 weeks instead of 4 weeks. This year we made some changes that I feel like, you know, added to the whole experience. You know, the last couple of years, the camp ended at 2 p.m. And so this year it ended at 5 p.m., which parents loved, you know. Also this year, I mentioned a few videos ago, we incorporated more field trips, or we incorporated field trips in general. We didn't go anywhere like crazy or major or anything like that, you know what I mean? We pretty much went around the local area. Yesterday we went back to the town center at the splash pad, so they had a great time. So we went back there. We also went to the library that was in walking distance of the town center's splash pad, and you know, they got a chance to like go in. They got on the computer. That particular library has a gaming console, so they were able to check out a couple of controllers and get on that. So it was pretty cool. So all in all, great experience. I had a parent today actually ask me about holiday camp, and what that is when a camp or a school or some type of like child care facility provides service when school is out. I've never done it before. I had another parent ask me about it. Actually, a friend of mine, she's also a parent, she asked me about it a couple of years ago, and she was like, you know, I think that would be a great service to provide, because a lot of times when the kids are out for like, I don't know, you know, Thanksgiving break, or, you know, they have an extended, of course, winter break and that kind of stuff. Yeah, some parents, some families, they go out of town, they travel, but a lot, you know, they stay in town because they still have to work, you know. So she was like, you know, I think it would be a great idea to offer that service. I think that a lot of parents would take advantage of it. So someone else asked me about it today, and I told them that I would consider it. I would think about it. You know, I got to talk it over to the mister, because, you know, usually when the school is out, you know, that's also our time to, you know, take some time off for ourselves as well. So, you know, we got to talk it over, kind of, you know, plan it out, you know. But like I said, overall, I think it went well. We did a talent showcase. So because we held the camp at my church, you know, we were able to you know, get on the stage and, you know, sing some songs. My husband runs the media at our church, so, you know, we weren't just back there like messing around, fooling around, you know, and not knowing what we were doing. So the kids enjoyed that as well. I mean, it was great. It was great. So that's it. That's all. I just wanted to share that with you. I don't want to make this video too long, but I did want to share with you a little bit of our devotion from this morning, because I thought it was really good. It was the end of 2 Samuel. It was the last chapter of 2 Samuel. I believe it was 2 Samuel chapter 24, I think. I'm gonna double check that, but it was definitely the last chapter of 2 Samuel, and it was when David took a census of the people, right? And I had always heard that, you know, God was angry with David because he had done that, right? But I wasn't sure why, because in the chapter, it was like the Lord told him to do that. He was like, you know, count the people of Israel and Judah, right? So I was like, well, he did that, so why are you mad? I don't get it. And so I kind of, you know, did a little study on that, and it turns out that what it was, you know, David did it, but his purpose, his intent wasn't right. You know, he did it out of pride. You know, he counted the people because, you know, he wanted to see, first of all, how many fighting men that he had, you know, just to kind of prove to himself how powerful he was, you know what I mean? And how, you know, the winning of his battles, the many battles that he fought, it wasn't necessarily because of the Lord, but it was because of the number of fighting people that he had and how powerful, you know, he was, they were, right? Also, you know, God had laid out, I believe in Leviticus, if I'm not mistaken, he had laid out that whenever a census was taken of people, how they were supposed to like pay like a tribute to the Lord, right? Because at the end of the day, they belong to God. You know, the Bible says that the earth is the Lord's, the fullness thereof, and they that dwell within, right? So, you know, it was a way for them to show honor to God. And so when he took the census, he did not collect, you know, this tribute. So that was something else that he did not do, which also goes to show that, you know, he felt like, you know, he was their God, or, you know, he was their supreme ruler, if you will. And it just goes back to show what God said in his word, that, you know, man looks at the outward appearance, but he looks at the heart. You know what I mean? Like, why we do the things that we do, our motives, our intentions, they matter. It doesn't, you know, it really doesn't matter if what you're doing is a good thing. It doesn't matter if it's the right thing. If your heart isn't right, if your intentions, your motive behind it isn't right, you know, God sees that. And, you know, it matters. It counts to him. You know what I mean? And so, you know, if it's not right, you know, if it's rooted in pride, oh, he's going to deal with it. He is going to deal with it. And so, you know, because of that, he punished David, you know what I mean? And he allowed him to choose his consequence, which right now, I can't remember what his choices were. I know one of them was like a 3-day plague amongst the people. I think another was supposed to be like a drought, like an extended drought, or that God would give David over to his enemies. And so God ended up giving him, or doling out 3 days of a plague that killed, I want to say, 70,000 people. And that just goes to show how, as leaders, we have to be careful of the decisions that we make. You know what I mean? The sins that we commit, because, you know, sometimes it can affect those that we have influence over. You know what I mean? It's not like David suffered the plague and he was taken out. No, it was the people. The people suffered because of something that he did, right? So we have to be careful. We have to be careful. I know we're under grace. Don't come for me. I know we're under grace. But still, we still have to be careful of the decisions that we make, the things that we do, because you never know how it's going to impact someone else. All right. So that's it. Hopefully, you know, this video, again, as with all of the videos that we make, all of the videos that I make, you know, I hope that you learn something from it. I hope that you get something out of it. I hope it makes you smile, like I do all the time. Okay, like the video, comment below. Just comment below, say hey, just say hello. Okay, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. All right, and I'll see you next time.